Hey, good morning everybody, and welcome to the vlog. I hope the start of your day is absolutely incredible. I'm here with my girl Tiger Lily, which is actually a Brazilian rainbow, but she's het for hypo. Now she's an animal ambassador here at the Reptarium and is not quite big enough to breed, but today is an exciting day because today starts the breeding season for some of my boas. And that means my rainbow boas, sand boas, and viper boas start getting bred today, and it's going to be exciting. Let's hope we get some baby boas here coming up later this summer. So what do you say we head down to BHB in the dungeon and start getting these little monkeys together? So obviously it's super exciting to be able to finally start breeding the rainbow boas this year. So the first thing I'm going to do is I typically will group these into say 2 females, sometimes even 3 females in a cage, and then a male. That's just the way I've always bred Brazilian rainbow boas. What you have to remember is number one, sometimes a communal group will actually encourage breeding as well as encourage follicle growth. So if one female is growing follicles and she's in with other females, it seeds the other females to grow follicles. And it's just the way I've done it. You know, people can breed them one-on-one, you can do all kinds of different ways, but this is what we're going to do. So we have 2 groups of Brazilian rainbow boas that are going to be separate from one another. So what the first thing I'm going to do is tag 1, 2, 3, and then I'll show you I'm actually going to mark on the animals so that way when I combine them, I can tell how to separate them back into their cages, right? So first thing I do is just inventory things, tag them, and then we'll come back and we'll actually mark the actual animal with the paint marker. And literally what I'm going to do is just take a silver paint marker and just put number 2 on all the way down because this is the number 2 female. And that way I can always get her back into her own cage when I separate them out because I really don't want to mix them up. I always want to keep the records of number 1, number 2, number 3, and so on like that. So I just literally go in and just mark these girls. We've noticed that silver and gold, so the metallic colors, tend to actually stick better than the other colors. So that's something to always keep in mind. For whatever reason, white and stuff like that, they'll actually wipe off and so on like that. Whereas the silver actually holds pretty good and it doesn't hurt the animal at all. There's nothing that's going to concern the animal. And I'll just mark those, and then ultimately what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to put 1, 2, and 3 together into one group for starters. And then I'll probably put another group of 4 and 5 together, and then maybe even switch them up a little bit here and there. And then I'm actually going to breed them to this male here, which is super, super pretty. This, of course, is a hypo Brazilian rainbow right here. So again, this is a recessive mutation, so I'll go ahead and just kind of seed him in here. Again, these guys are just going to start warming up, start breeding. We'll typically see breeding pretty quickly after we start introducing them. Start increasing the food a little bit like we always do with all of our snakes, and then hopefully here within the next maybe 3 months we'll start to see some ovulations. And then if that all goes well, we're looking at, you know, July, August for actual babies, and these guys will have anywhere from, you know, 15 babies all the way up to 30 babies, and these are some pretty big females. So I tell you what, a girl like this can certainly have mid-20s, no problem at all. I mean, she looks absolutely incredible. And what you could tell now that I have number 2, I have number 3, and then ultimately I think I'm going to go ahead and put number 1 in this group too. And I'll switch this up. Sometimes I'll have 2 females together, sometimes I'll have 3 females together. I just kind of switch things around. But now if that male is breeding 1, 2, or 3, I can mark on the actual cage which one's being bred. That's why I use the silver marker. Of course, I've got something important to share with you. That's right, we have brought back Bella Banana shirts. You guys know that we don't typically do this. This is the first time I've ever brought an old design back, and it's the last time I'm going to be bringing an old design back. It's just by such popular demand. People have been asking me for Bella Bananas. For the next few weeks, you can go to the link in the description, and you can get your Bella's Banana shirt in different colors, hoodies, mugs, all that type of stuff. Definitely check out the link in the description. Again, these are only going to last for the next few weeks. You may not know this, but sometimes tortoises climb trees. What are you doing, Matilda? You crazy monkey. So it's really cool. Again, Matilda just pushes her way out of her door whenever she wants to cruise around. So I came in this morning and she's booking around. The good news is she doesn't come out at night. She sleeps all night. But in the morning when the sun comes up and stuff like that, every now and then she wants to go on a little adventure. And sometimes she tries to climb trees. You're so silly, monkey. What are you doing, silly girl? You're such a good girl. I love you, girl. You're crazy. Really busy day here at the Reptarium. I think Lori is trying to kill us. Jay, what are you doing?
So I've got some virtual tours, I've got some birthday parties, got some private tours. It's crazy.
I see you've got McDonald's. How much of a break do you have?
I have 4 minutes to eat
4 minutes?
right now.
All right, so let's talk for a few minutes first, just because I want to talk to you about how life is and stuff like that.
I really want to eat the McDonald's.
Okay. All right, go ahead, eat.
Okay,
yeah, okay. Next up is actually the Colombian rainbow boas, and these are, again, just like the Brazilians. I'll be totally honest with you, typically a little bit more predictable when it comes to breeding. I mean, if you bred 10 female Colombians, you're probably going to get 8 or 9 litters. With Brazilians, if you bred 10, you're probably going to get maybe 5 or 6, and they do have a little bit of a tendency to not have as good of litters when it comes to infertility and stuff like that. So regardless, leucistic, absolutely gorgeous. Got a bunch of het leucistic females, so I'm going to probably breed this white boy to 4 females, and then I'm going to breed some hets to other females. I think we have a total of 12 females to breed, so we'll get 4 with him, and then we'll do 4 and 4 with other het males or something combination thereof. So I just have to pick which 4 females I want to go to the white one, because again, they're het, which means half the babies will come out like him and half the babies will be het. When I'm breeding het to het, obviously only 25% of the babies are going to come out leucistic, and 75% of them are going to be possible het for leucistic. So obviously the 4 I want to pick for this guy is going to be the biggest and most robust females that hopefully will have the largest litters. And I've had litters in the 20s for Colombians as well. Typically not as big a litters as Brazilians can have, but still can have some pretty massive litters. So again, just kind of organizing, and again, when you're starting to breed snakes, I'm telling you what, organization in the beginning is going to save you so many hours down the road. If you're putting a male over here and then over there and then over here, it's going to cause you a lot. So it's all about kind of rearranging the females to make the most sense, so that it's simple to get males in, because the simpler it is, the more successful you're going to be. Keep in mind when you're marking the animals with the silver, if it's in shed, it's going to shed that off, right? Because this is just going on that epidural shed layer. So if it's in shed, I typically don't put it in a group, and I'll wait till it sheds out. As soon as it sheds out, then I mark it. Another thing, when you keep them in groups, we'll only keep them that way for maybe 2 or 3 days, but that's something to keep an eye on, because if one of them sheds, now you have to do a little bit of deductive reasoning where that animal goes, because you don't want to confuse them. So again, once I get all these Colombians marked, I'll start putting all the males and females together, and the process has begun. Next up are actually samboas, and I really do things similar as I do on the rough scale samboas when it comes to the Jani, which are the smooth scale samboas. Is I'll literally just take a handful of females and put them together, 2 or 3 females, and I run actually a sunset male through them. I do have one sunset female here, and you can just see how beautiful she is. You know, she's got that orange still in her. You can still see a little bit of the banding towards the tail and stuff like that. So I'm certainly going to want to get her bred as well. So we'll probably do like 3 in one group, 2 in another group, and we'll cycle that male sunset through this, and hopefully with any luck we'll produce some babies. It's been like 2 years since we've had babies Indian samboas, so hopefully this year will be the year. Hey Lori. What? I know that you schedule things really crazy, but you didn't even give Jay like 5 minutes off today. He's just busy. Like, he literally had to eat his breakfast as he was starting the virtual tour.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So
does Jay get any time off at all?
No.
No? How did you get any time off?
No.
Do I get any time off?
No.
Why?
Because we have stuff to do.
That's stuff to do, so okay.
Put that away.
Where am I putting it?
Right here.
So what, like you can't do this?
Help me. Alright. That's upside down. Seriously.
Oops. Come on. Okay. Yeah, I have this tactic. If I don't do the job well, she won't make me do it. So.
You can handle this.
Where does it go, Lori? I can't figure it out. Okay.
Nice try.
All right. No. She's a tyrant. Things work a little bit differently when it comes to like the rough scales and Kenyan sand boas. We actually have enough males and females where we go one-on-one with these guys. So this is a little male rough scale sand boa right here. And then down here we've got some of our Kenyan sand boas here. Where you at, little monkey? And again, the males are actually relatively small. This just is actually a hat for snow right there. And so we'll just put one male per female and we'll cycle them through pretty much every day, switching to a new male and new female. Again, live bears just like the rainbow boas, and typically the same time of gestation period as well. So with the rough scales and stuff like that, we don't even cool them down at all. All we do is actually increase the food with the females when we want to start breeding them, and that typically sends them into a follicle growth, ovulation, and then ultimately babies. A lot of sand boas. So now I'm pretty excited that the season is started when it comes to boas. The last group of boas I have to work on are the viper boas. Now, interestingly enough, it's kind of difficult to actually sex viper boas, and I love these guys. I mean, they're a little Indonesian boa that typically has quite a little attitude. This one's got all kinds of coconut bedding all over its head, but you can't really avert them, and you really, the spurs are super small, so I have a hard time actually seeing them. So there's a chance I'm going to get bit here, but what I'm going to do is actually probe, and what it is this is the vent right here. This is what they call the anal vent. The sex organs are down here in the base of the tail. This would be what they would call a hemipene pocket. Now, if this goes and probes deeper past maybe 7 or 8 subcaudal scales, and that's what these scales are called, that's actually a male because it has a hemipene pocket. Now, a female won't have a hemipene pocket, so she'll only probe maybe 2 or 3 subcaudal scales at the most. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how we do this, and most likely I'm going to get a nip because he's probably not going to like it all that much. But let's go ahead and do this, and real gently, I just want to go right in this side, and you can see right here, see how far that probed? That probe went all the way down to here, right down to here. That tells me it's a male. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this one a male. And I just have to go through the group just to make sure, because this is the first year I'm actually breeding these guys. And I want to make sure that my sexes are right on them. All right, we'll just kind of go through all of them like this. Typically the males are smaller. They're sexually dimorphic, but some of these males tend to be pretty large right now. So I just want to make sure that I have the right sex on these guys. Again, I'm just going to find that pocket. Gonna probe in really gently, super deep. That's another boy right there. So I'm gonna mark him. Ow, ow, got a little bite on him, doesn't he? Woo! Come on, little monkey. Got little sharp teeth, there's no doubt about that. I understand. I don't know that I'd want someone probing my nether regions either, so listen, I can totally understand where he's coming from, but I think that is the only, it looks like we have 2 other males potentially. So we're gonna go ahead and probe these guys out and just see what happens. Yep, another boy right here. Again, just marking the males on them, just so I don't need to necessarily mark the females because I'm gonna be switching these guys out almost every day. So that's another male. Looks like we've got 3 males and maybe a 4th male here, which is really good because with this group, the more males I have, the better actually. I'd really like to be able to rotate males through pretty heavy. Let me see here. Yep, another boy right there. See that subcaudal scales right there? How far deep it went in? That means it's a boy too. And there's some really pretty ones in here too. And then I'll show you a female just so that you have reference to what they look like as far as probing goes. We'll go ahead and show you a female just so you have a pretty good idea of what they look like. So you can see females are typically much larger. This one's a very beautiful one too. Really, really pretty. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you. I'll get this in the same pocket. And you can see this one only probes about that far. So again, female right there. So looks like we're in pretty good shape. We have 4 males and I think we have 6 females, so that should be pretty good. We'll just kind of keep swapping them through, switching them out every day or 2, and hopefully within the next few months we'll start to see some ovulations and get some baby viper boas. There it is, boa season is on its way. A lot of cool stuff is starting to happen. Again, I always talk about the winters are a little bit more boring, especially without us being able to travel this year. So you guys made it through it. It's about to really heat up here, so hang in there with me and I appreciate you so much. If you enjoyed this video and you do want to see a bunch of eggs, here's a playlist of snake eggs you can watch all day long. If you don't mind, right up here you can actually subscribe to my podcast channel, talk about all kinds of stuff on that channel. On this side, 30,000 subscribers away from 3 million. Hit that subscription button, turn your post notifications on. Have an absolutely wonderful day. Remember, be kind to somebody, and I promise I'll see you tomorrow.